everyone's a rock and roll star. If you gotta go, baby, don't go alone. I wanna die with the radio on. My life's so long, send me off with a song. I wanna die with the radio on.
Welcome everyone to Ron RoXtar Media. Hey, I am so glad today we're going to be joined by the metal queen herself, Lee Aaron, and she's got a brand new rocking album out called Radio On, which we're going to be talking about. And I want to say right from the get-go that, Lee, this is one of the best albums I've heard in 2021.
Aw, really? Yeah, thank you. I'm excited about it. And I know the guys in the band are excited about it too. And we had so much fun making it. So I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like 12 pure rock and roll songs that I think people should put on their radio. It's called Radio On. And, you know, again, from one of Canada's premier voices. And I think everything from the songs, the production of the songs is just like really great. The playing, as you're saying, from your band members, the songwriting, everything. So what I want to ask you from the get-go is, what was the genesis for this particular album?
Well, you know, I'm always writing, you know, in terms of lyric content, things that are in my heart and mind at the time. You know, sometimes it's particular things I am inspired to talk about. Sometimes it's an inspiration that comes just from, like, I hear the guitar riff and I'm just like, oh man, like I've got this vision for this song, and that's how it ends up evolving. You know, I think this band as a unit started to really hit their stride on the Diamond Baby album, and then consequently after that, subsequently the live album, Power Soul Rock and Roll live in Germany, that came out in 2019. And what I realized is that, you know, we had written those other two albums because we're a bi-coastal band, sending files back and forth. But when we get together on a stage, even just for a sound check or in a dressing room, we're always like just bouncing ideas and being really creative. And sometimes we'll get together in a hotel room and jam. And I was like, man, like there is something truly magical when this band gets together. There's like some kind of special voodoo magic that happens. And so I said to the guys, to write this album, let's just go for it. Let's get together for a weekend. I'm going to fly Sean in, bring your best 3 or 4 song ideas, and we're just going to woodshed and we're just going to go for it and see what happens. I actually wasn't really thinking we're going to write a whole record. I didn't really know. I just thought we were doing some writing sessions. Well, by the end of that weekend, we're like, holy crap, we have 13 songs. We ended up not putting them all on the record. We have one that didn't make it, although I still think it was a great song. But it was a lot like Devil's Gold, and we already had one that was that timbre and that tempo on the album. So that's basically what happened. And, you know, by the end of that weekend, I'd recorded them all in my iPhone memo feature as we created them and had them like a basic arrangement. And then if I had like all the chorus lines were solid, like I was walking up to the mic, I had a lot of lyric ideas that sometimes I'll walk up to the mic and just sing like gibberish, the first thing that comes into my head that sounds good phonetically but then I end up often keeping a lot of those things. So all of the chorus lines were like totally solid. I had some gibberish, I had some solid lines. And then after that weekend, I just, you know, took it away and finished up most of the lyric content, and voila, Radio On.
I mean, 12 songs, there's a lot going on here. I mean, that first single, Come On. I mean, it's kind of like a universal message for everybody, eh?
Well, it's great that you say that. I don't know that I was really thinking universal message at the time. What had happened with that tune is Dave brought in this really cool bass riff that was like, he's a big like Cheap Trick fan, and he loves like pop rock music, and which, you know, we do too. I do too. But we all have sort of different influences in our creative process. And so he brought in that idea, and he was singing this line, you know, it all comes down to you. And I was like, okay, I like that. But I don't know what that means for me. So I took it away and I turned it into the Come On song. And I thought, what about if I come on to you, you come on to me? And I started thinking about, just, things we've been through in our lives. And, the challenge when you get to our age is like, how do you write a mature love song, right? It's like, we can't be writing about the same things we wrote about when we were 20, but, a second chance at love, a third chance at love, those feelings that you get, it doesn't matter if you're 20 and you're 60, if you're thinking of entering into a relationship and you're kind of wondering, does this person like me? Do I take the chance to tell them? Is it going to be reciprocated? Is the chemistry going to be there? Those are terrifying feelings, but also very exciting feelings. And, I just thought it was the perfect theme for this like super rocking, driving summer rock pop tune that you could just crank up on your stereo and drive your car.
So many put downs. I remember all the things unsaid, but your light's still shining strong. I'm reading the thoughts inside your head. Another chance at romance. I know you're scared that baby don't dance. That broken heart could fly away in these sweet hands. If I come on to you, will you come on to me? If I make the first move, will you be open to me? There's lightning in these hearts. Can't you feel the sparks flying? If I come on to you, will you come on to me?
Talking about individual songs, and actually the current single, which is such a kicker, which is Vamping, killer track. What's that one about?
Well, on every Lee Aaron album, there's always one big empowerment song, right? It's sort of it's been a theme, Metal Queen, Some Girls Do. Even Diamond Baby. Diamond Baby is a song. It's about, we're all diamonds in the rough, and we need to find we all need to shine like the diamonds that we are, So it's been a consistent theme throughout my writing. I think largely inspired by just some of the trials that I went through as a young girl in the music industry, feeling somewhat exploited and a little bit, overly sexualized in the 80s, and, wanting to sort of feel like I could take my ownership of my body and my power back. Does that make sense? The ownership of my marketing. So this has sort of been a consistent theme. And when Sean actually brought that riff into our sessions, that down, 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 down. And I went, okay, that's a little complex. How am I going to sing over that? But then we worked it up into a song, and I was like, oh man, I had read Patti Smith's novel, Just Kids, about her life in New York in the early 60s, living with Robert Mapplethorpe, the photographer, all of the crazy Andy Warhol world, hanging out at the factory, hanging out, all of the goings on at the Chelsea Hotel in New York. And I'd written all these just stream of consciousness ideas. And one of this idea I had was, I just thought of like, getting your vamp on in the 60s. And, she was talking about cutting her own hair, and people all complimented her on haircut. And I thought that just the freedom of that era and that feeling, and, just getting your groove on. And that's what inspired Vamping, really, and it's a song about, getting your groove back after you've been stumbling your way in the dark for a while.
It's no mystery exactly what got into her, but a rebel on a spree. Ooh, she's got ability, but a mind who's in a prison cell when a heart busted out free. So high, you got baby's vamping.
I wanted to mention too about this album, and since we're talking so much about the songs of it, And a lot, especially in your career, there's been on this record, there's a couple of songs that sort of still have that youthful rebellion to them, like Mama Don't Remember, Soho Crawl. So for people who think, you're, let's say more maturely, but you know what? There's still some of that rock and roll rebellion in there. Am I correct?
Oh, absolutely. It's funny. Someone asked me the other day, now that I'm a mom and, I've been married for a while and with my husband for a while, have you lost your edge? Do you think you have as many things to write about? And, I think overall becoming a parent, gives me more things to actually be angry about. Like our kids are growing up in this crazy world. And, my whole worldview has kind of shifted. I care about a lot of things that I never cared about so much when I was younger, like all these environmental issues and all the political unrest and the, cancel culture and all of this stupidity that's going on out there. I really makes me worried for my kids growing up in this world. So I definitely still have a lot of angst about a lot of things, but those particular tunes you're talking about, Mama Don't Remember. Yeah, it is an angsty, aggressive song, but it's all about realizing, if you listen to the lyrics, I found the gold at the end, or I blew the gold at the end of the rainbow, chasing down my fortune and fame. And I've been gone so long that my mama can't remember my name. It's about losing touch with being grounded. It's about being on the road so long, losing your actual focus on what makes your soul happy.
I blew the gold at the end of the rainbow, chasing down my fortune and fame. And I've been gone so long that my mama don't remember my name. Yeah, I've been gone so long that my mama don't remember my name.
And Soho Crawl is, again, I was reading that book, and so I got inspired. I started doing more research. We watched another documentary on Edie Sedgwick, who was one of the Andy Warhol girls back in the 60s, and her life and how that kind of blew up for her. And so Soho Crawl was, again, it was to me, when Sean brought in that riff, I thought it just reminded me of like the New York Dolls or something, really like a dirty New York riff. And so Soho Crawl is inspired by that whole New York 60s scene again.
Yeah.
Shake it up, make it fast. It's your 15 minutes, you better make it last. You wanna fly, you're gonna crash. It's a casting call for the Soho Crawl.
Absolutely. And I know we're talking a lot about this album, but there's some more big news too that's happened recently, because again, for your fans too, especially some of your older fans, we've also just had the re-release of Metal Queen, correct? On the vinyl?
Yeah.
Purple vinyl? How'd that
It's
come
pink.
about?
It's pink. Well,
Pink, sorry.
so the Metal Queen masters are owned by a company called Unidisc in Canada. And they were talking about re-releasing Metal Queen. And they asked what because I'm not making a lot of money off that record at all, put it that way, because I don't own the masters anymore. But they politely asked what I partnership with them on it in terms of helping promote it as a special edition reissue, because for Record Store Day, they wanted to put it out. And so we agreed that it would come out on pink vinyl, which I was really thrilled about because, to me, the pink vinyl of Metal Queen, really represents the femininity and the power behind that song, which was the original intention. It was written as a song of female empowerment. It was a feminist statement. And it was it was supposed to be a pushback against the male-dominated industry, the sexualization of women.
Metal Queen, what's the song? Metal Queen, what's the song?
A lot of that message at the time was lost because the video was sandwiched in between all of those other 80s rock videos that had women dressed, models dressed up, washing the guys' cars. And I mean, I've said this many times, and being sprayed down with hoses. And, they were trophy ladies that were making the men look more masculine. And so there's Metal Queen sandwiched in the middle. And all the 14-year-old boys went like, oh, Lee Aaron, she's our Metal Queen. She, somehow I became a symbol of everything that I was not happy about at that time. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
So this representation of this album coming out on like power pink vinyl is very, very Riot Girl. I loved it.
Well, it's funny. I was just talking to a friend of mine about your career and some of your songs. And the thing is, there's like, let's say, for example, this what you're saying, about the sexualization of some of the songs and things like that. And in your music, it was almost like if there was something that was, let's say, done in a sexy sense, though, but it was almost an empowerment, like a positive attitude to it, that a woman or a girl could look up to and say, yeah, that's how I feel as well. I don't know if that's.
Well, thank you. That really makes me happy that you would say something like that. A lot of the stuff that I did was very like What You Do to My Body on the album. A lot of that was tongue in cheek, the sexualization, how do I explain it, was sassy and tongue in cheek with some of that. Like What You Do to My Body is a perfect example. Hands On is a perfect example. But then, you've got a song like, Tough Girls Don't Cry. You know how many women have told me that song got them through a really tough period in their life? So.
Yeah, so it's great. Like you're saying, you really achieved your goal, I think, as an artist. Like you said, you're sort of in a way rebelling against all those things that the 80s was doing for women, that which you're saying was an over-sexualization. And here you were trying to, let's say, not do that. And as you're saying, even fans talking that you helped them through things and they understood that. And even now, just me telling you that, you said that I understood that. So it's good. So you've achieved your goal as an artist. Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
And not only with the Metal Queen pink vinyl, but I've heard through the grapevine that you've also got the Christmas record reissue coming. Is that true?
That is true. I had no intention of doing just an album full of standard covers. There's a couple of pseudo standards on there, but does someone really need to hear Lee Aaron sing "Oh Holy Night"? And again, it's just been some of those songs have been done and done and done and done. So I wanted to do something different and fun and cool. And I found an old, an Eels song. And we covered a Pet Shop Boys song. We covered an old Louis Armstrong song. It's pretty wacky. It's a pretty wacky record. But it's really cool and it sounds just like Lee Aaron. So and we just basically got our nose to the grindstone, went into our home studios and did it. And then released it independently. So anyone who bought one last year got a first edition copy, which are going to become rare because it's now being re-released globally with Metalville this coming Christmas. And it's got a new cover, and we wrote 2 new bonus tracks. In February, we wrote a couple of new Christmas songs. Go figure.
Do you think about it? Look, people say, you probably heard this yourself, Lee, rock is dead. But here's the thing. In 1 year, we're basically getting 3 releases from Lee Aaron, right? You got Radio On, the pink vinyl of Metal Queen, now the Christmas album coming out. And the other bands out there too, like Cheap Trick just released an album. Styx just put out a great new album. So, rock is still alive and strong thanks to artists like you and like these artists I just named who keep putting out new music. And I think that's great. And 3 albums in 1 year, pretty much, for Lee Aaron fans. Can it get any better?
We've written a bunch of songs for a new album already too. And we have studio time booked with Mike Fraser for August. So I'll keep you posted about that. But it's interesting that you say that because, when the album first went into pre-sale mode, and it's, by the way, you can still get it. If you click on the link in my bio at Facebook or on Instagram, it's available for pre-sale there right now. There's a bunch of links internationally. You can get it all over the world. But like the first couple of weeks I went into pre-sales, it was like number 2 on the Amazon like rock bestsellers list, right? And so this is the thing. I'm not breaking any streaming records charts like some other artists, but people are buying my album. They're buying the album, they're buying the CD. And I think this is what the labels need to pay attention to, is that, you know, artists like myself that have fans that are between 40 and 60, they still like to buy physical product. I don't know about you, but like nothing makes my heart skip a beat more than getting like a gatefold vinyl album and opening them up and being able to look at the pictures and see the stuff. You know, I know everyone in my band is a huge fan like that. And so, well, a lot of the younger generation is consuming music in a different way. You know, I think my fans still want to buy physical rock and roll. And I'm really, really pleased about that. You know, it's, and the other thing that has been somewhat, believe it or not, overwhelming for me is that the label has a wonderful promotional department. Flying Dolphin is attached to Metalville and Flying Dolphin Administration. And they've been doing they have promotional partners in the UK, the Benelux, the Netherlands, Germany, France. I think I've done something with Spain, Italy. They have guys in the States. You're out of Montreal, but you were booked this through Nathan Burke, I believe, who's out of the US. I have like had interviews every single day. Like I've been overwhelmed by the amount of love and interest still in what I'm doing, you know? So it's been really crazy. So yeah,
Well,
it's a great thing.
I
can't believe rock is dead if people are still want to talk about it so much.
I know, right? And I think
Yeah.
it's a double-edged sword in a good way. Like you've got a great team behind you, you know, as you said, at Metalville. And at the same time, though, Lee, you're putting out a great product, a great album. So it helps, you know, like if some artist puts out an album that's not that great, it's kind of hard to promote it. But your album is so great. I mean, when I heard it, I said right away, first thing I did is I said, I got to talk to Lee and really promote this album because I want people to hear it and just get out there and rock.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. That's cool.
You know, on this song, and speaking about that album, there's another song I want to just quickly mention on the song Great Big Love. You know, it's kind of a song about like two people that sort of live opposite lives, but they make their relationship work, right? Correct?
Well, it's interesting because nobody has asked me about that song yet except you. So I like that you've brought it up. Well, it's kind of about how people can be in a love relationship, but just be completely different people. Like I like to describe it as, you know, it's like iron sharpening iron, right? When you're in a, you know, relationship that is good, but also can be a little contemptuous at times, but you're always pushing each other toward your best self, if that makes any sense. And so, I mean, honestly, my husband and I aren't exactly alike, and I'm really happy about that because if we were, I think we'd be bored. You know, we've been together 20 years and we never run out of stuff to talk about. And of course the chorus, you know, great big love is what you get from me. You know, it's sort of like love is bigger than everything. Love wins in the end. So that's what the song is about.
What's mine is yours and what's yours is mine. I wouldn't have it any other way. Great big love. Great big love. Great big love is what you get from me. Or whether you like it or not. Great big love. Great big love.
Well, there's a great line in that song that I wanted to lead into my next question, because in it you say that you're pretty. You said that you're a pretty good cook. So Lee, I want to ask you if you have a favorite meal that you actually cook or a favorite recipe that you want to share with your fans. Since you said you're pretty good
Nobody's asked me about recipes either. So you mean you actually want me to give you the recipe right now?
Well, okay, I'll tell you what. Do you have like a favorite meal, let's say, that you cook? Like, is there a special dish that you
Okay, I'll
cook?
tell you one of my family's favorite meals. Believe it or not, barbecued steak. Now, we don't eat a lot of meat, but we do eat ethically sourced meat that is treated humanely and eats grass. So I have a special way of doing the steaks. I make a mean Greek salad. I love Greek salad. And, and they love it when I make one of my favorite kitchen appliances is my Starfrit French fry cutter, and I make homemade fries. And they love that.
Who doesn't love homemade fries, really? That's cool.
Olive oil and sea salt. Yeah, on parchment. It's delish.
This is a question I ask all the artists I talk to, and a lot of people look forward to this question from everybody. So, Lee, unfortunately, you're stranded on a desert island. You're never going to be rescued, but you've got your solar-powered vinyl record player with you. What are the top 3 desert island discs you would bring with you?
I would say,
and even for me, it changes. Like, you could ask me one week, and the next week I gave you 3 total different ones.
Nina Simone, Little Girl Blue, my favorite jazz record of all time. Maybe Physical Graffiti, Led Zeppelin. I don't know. I think it's Led Zeppelin 2 or Physical Graffiti. It's a toss up. Number 3, what would it be? I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. You did like maybe a Heart record, Magic Man, or no, maybe Dreamboat Annie or Little Queen.
Okay.
I can't pick. No. And then there's like Elton John and Fleetwood Mac that I love, and David Bowie, and Prince. Like, there's so many. It's so hard to pick.
Do you have a favorite Prince album? Because I'm a huge Prince fan.
I really like the Diamonds and Pearls record.
It's a good one.
It's a really good one. I saw him perform in the round at Maple Leaf Gardens in 1990. Sheila E. was on drums. Oh, wow. My gosh. She was amazing. Amazing. Yeah.
And you know what? I think you've done something original too on this record. I think, is it the first time you've played piano on an album for the track 21?
Yeah, I played keyboards all over this record, but in the past, let's be honest, I am a piano player and I am a guitar player. I don't profess to be an uber fantastic musician. I've always been my musicianship is good enough to write a song, sort of like the Beatles, right? In the past, I guess maybe it was just lack of confidence or whatever, or the guys in the band were kind of like, why don't you just play it yourself, And so I did.
I remember 21. Making love beneath the setting sun. Before the path we chose was set and done. Oh, we're all prodigal sisters and prodigal sons. It's time leading the blind for everyone. Always in my mind, I'm 21. 21, still on the run.
Was thinking back about, all of the stuff we've been through together. Like, my fans and myself, we're all older now. We've lived through many trials and tribulations, relationships ending, relationships beginning, children being born, children growing up, children leaving home. Mine are still at home, but many of my fans, their kids are gone. I really care about these people that love my music and have stuck with me through all these years. And so 21's kind of like a love letter to those people. Let's remember back to these nostalgic times, but also be proud of how far we've come.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what I get from that song, and so that's great. But I wanted to thank you so much, Lee, for taking this time with me this evening, and also again for putting out such a great rock and roll album out there.
Well, thank you, Ron. We're so excited. Comes out on July 23rd, and I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm really, really, really hoping that this Delta variant doesn't sideline everybody, because live shows are just starting to come back. I announced our first one in October today, and I was talking to my agent yesterday. It looks like more shows are going to start being announced, and I'm just super excited to get out there and play live and get back to Montreal.
I can't wait. I would love to come and see you in Montreal.
Oh, well, my manager's from Montreal, so I'm sure he will soon. That's one place he's always trying to get me to play, so I'm sure I'll be back.
That's great. Well, listen, everybody out there, you've just heard Lee talking about these songs with me. We've heard some of the songs as well. Again, all the details that she's just given you, the release date, live dates coming up. So make sure that when this album is released on July 23rd, that you download it, you stream it, because I know a lot of people are still streaming, a lot of people are downloading. But as Lee was saying, you know what's better? Buy yourself a physical copy of the CD or the vinyl. And that's the real way to enjoy your music and appreciate it to its fullest max. And make sure to get out there, play Rock On, and turn it up to 11, and have a great time listening to some great rock and roll from one of Canada's premier vocalists, Lee Aaron. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Take care and God bless.
Ron, cheers. God bless you guys. You take care. I hope I see you in Montreal soon.